So what's interesting about her story is it's a success for sure, but our conversation, she pointed out so many things that her college and other colleges could do better in terms of support, in terms of kind of giving her the tools that she needed, which I think is really interesting, especially when we talk about successes, there's still improvement there. So the next story I want to talk about is something I did around financial aid. So I am always working on stories about paying for college and financial aid. That's kind of why we're all here. When I talk to students, this is the number one thing they want to know about in high school. It's the number one thing they want to know about when they're in college. And when they graduate, they still want to know about all this money stuff. So this was a story about some research looking at financial aid packages. So this is when you are applying to schools and they kind of give you your financial situation in a packet. And the research looked at 11,000 letters, offer letters, and basically found that the jargon was insane. And I'm sure I think this expands beyond just financial aid. The jargon that higher ed uses blows my mind. Bursar's office, some places are called bursar. What? Even on websites, when you're talking about kind of when you'll be eligible to use your Pell and what semesters and what courses, it's like, who wrote this? Especially when we're talking to students who don't have any, real grounding in all the stuff kind of we're talking about today, about financial literacy, about loans. So this research was kind of all about the lingo and the jargon. This slide is just an example. This is the 136 ways that colleges described this one federal loan. Yeah, it's insane. So also imagine if you're a student trying to kind of compare, the names aren't even the same. Again, this is one kind of federal loan. And many of the names actually took out the word loan. Perhaps you might argue the most important word in the definition. So there's legislation in Congress at the national level and some states to try and make this uniform and try and make the language that financial aid offices use more standard. So that's underway. And I talked to several congressmen on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, who are pushing legislation like this. So potentially some changes coming, we will see. This is the girl McKenna Hensley that I talked to in this story, and I want to make sure that we stay on schedule, so I won't play her clip, but she's just delightful, and she was kind of talking about how with loans and finances, there is this semblance that you have a lot of money that you actually don't have, and that just confused her even more. The fact that she was looking at these really big numbers, sometimes they'd be bolded or in good, fun fonts, and it wasn't directed to kind of what that money meant, what that loan meant, or how much she would need for books or for all these extra things. So what she kind of talked to me about was just how the psychology behind the way the money was presented to her didn't really match what it actually meant. So one of the things that came out of this story was we put together this glossary/guide on these terms, because there are just so many terms that students need to know. So this is just an example of one of the ways that we're trying to kind of take stories and transform them into news you can use. And I'll share all of these links and resources with you guys so that you can use them and share them. And this brings me to our latest project that we've been working on at NPR. It's called Life Kit. It's a podcast that is essentially news you can use. So drawing from the reporting that we've done, the research that we've covered, the students that we've talked to, we're trying to package it into podcasts that you can listen to and